We are live. Welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom, number 278. I'm your host, Greg Gabb. The gang's all here with Luff and Don and John and Jim and Phil and Mike and Dewan and Garth and Jeremy and Wayne and other people. We will talk slot cars. But first, I wanted to do a couple of public apologies. Apology number one, against my better judgment and telling myself not to do this for the last, year or two. I mistakenly gave oxygen to a fire on a forum because this person has gotten so little engagement on their normal posts that they decided to basically start a couple of flame wars to get more engagement, right? So people are engaging with his content, I guess. No, any news is good news. Any press is good press. So again, I'm sorry that I at all increased the engagement on that post. I will no longer do that. I'll do my best not to do that. I'm human. I make mistakes. Which leads to the other apology, to the viewership of this chat. I was roundly castigated in a comment on last week's video for my absolute atrocious behavior during the discussions last week and my terrible treatment of Wayne. So I wanted to apologize. I'll go ahead and give Wayne a little actual apology. Sorry for cutting you off like that, but we're friends. But the apology that I'm making here is to that viewer and any other viewers out there who have been watching this show or just started watching this show. I use that because other people call it a show. That somehow managed to come to the conclusion that this is anything at all other than just a bunch of dudes around the world talking about slot cars. That's all this is. So if by some miracle of self-delusion you've decided this is anything other than that, I apologize that you're an ignoramus. So you want to complain about this show? Have at it. I care less about that than pretty much anything else I could possibly care less about in the world. So, Mr. Man who just created your YouTube account a few months ago with zero content just to complain about a bunch of dudes chit-chatting and giving each other some shit. Anywho, let's talk about slot cars. I have a quick show and tell. It's going to be super quick, and I think you guys will understand why I took this picture as soon as you see it, once I switch to the right tab. Why did I take this picture? Because I thought it was hilarious that there are 4 Harbor Freight toolboxes. And just a few months ago, there were 0 of them. And as soon as one guy got one, and I did the little shelves for him, another guy wanted one, and then another guy wanted one. And one of the guys that barely ever brings anything went ahead and got one because they're so popular, because they're so inexpensive, and they work so well for this purpose. So, if I come up with something else for this thing, I'm absolutely going to do it. Jim's made a bunch of cool things for these toolboxes. Other people out there have done things for these toolboxes. They're just great. If you have a Harbor Freight, just go grab one. You'll end up using it.
Greg, I think you've come across the modern Hoffman box.
I'm not aware of what a Hoffman box is. So
well, that was the wooden boxes that they carried around in the 60s. I did a show about it. Yep. And they were originally made for marine fishermen because they were made of marine plywood. Like if you threw them in the ocean, they would float. Which is yeah.
And then so this is the much more affordable plastic version of that because of its popularity. Yeah.
And no trees were killed making those boxes.
Yeah, just old dinosaurs.
There was 4 at our group the other night. They're not Harbor Freight, but they're from a local auto supplier, and they're bright red with a different coloured top, but I noticed there was 4 on the benches last night, Tuesday night.
Nice.
So they're popular out here as well, Greg.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in other parts of the world, they're going to be some other brand and some other color.
Oh,
But
Temu sell them. I think AliExpress have them. Yeah, they're everywhere.
yeah,
They're
yeah,
out of China and they're cheap.
yeah. Great.
Well, the yellow ones are overplayed now. It's for peasants. You want to go with the green one, as I have here. That's for the top-notch people.
That's the cool.
Oh,
It's-
hey, Jeremy, now if you really want to be unique, paint a yellow stripe down it and say it's from Lotus.
Yeah.
All the ones out here are red.
You need a Ferrari badge then, Phil.
Need to
Yes,
do a
that's for sure,
exchange
Wayne.
program.
Yeah.
You're buying
Send you
one
some.
that's not yellow, you gotta check them because when you go online to whoever, there's 2 that look almost alike and one is about 2/3 the size.
Mm.
Looking for the Harbor Freight clone, make sure you check the dimensions because a couple of people here in Northern California have bought a different color and they look the same, but they're a different size. So just if you're looking, just make sure.
Are they big enough to still use for that function? And they're just
No, they're really not. They're about 2/3 the size. They don't quite fit the cars. They're great boxes, but
Yeah.
if you're looking to you know any of the aftermarket stuff like you make will not fit because it's a totally different size. So just double check when before you order one. And they're typically cheaper. They're typically like 20 to 25 instead of 30 to 35.
Yeah.
So just
The
check.
green one and the gray one are exact Harbor Freight clones.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Harbor Freight must contract that out to a company in China.
I know that the
They're
pink
probably
one
all
is
out of the one
size.
factory in China.
yeah.
Yeah.
So just
Just to
be
know,
aware.
keep an eye out for size when you
So the
order one
smaller
online.
ones would be good for 143rd and HO.
HO, yeah. All right. Anybody else got any show and tell? John has show and tell, but anybody else who has show and tell? John, do you want to go before or after Mike? He's trying to push the
Oh,
button.
after,
Go ahead,
please.
Mike.
Yeah.
What do you got? What do you got, Mike?
I got 2 things. First off, I have added to my Pagani stash. I now have 3 Paganis. These are all of these have been purchased on sale for $40. So it's, I was just waiting long enough for all of them. I like the cars. Actually, they're decent cars for Scale Electric. And the other thing I want to applaud is the box.
Yeah.
It's cardboard.
Yeah.
You can see it. It's the same function. It's not 5 million layers of plastic.
Yeah.
On a completely different note, you remember these?
Yep.
These are the adapters for Polycar to Scale Electric. Well, I've been mucking about with these and using the copper tape that's too thin and doesn't carry enough current. So I've been thinking about what to do with that. And I have a bunch of old braid that's a little bit too thick to use because it brings the cars up too high.
Mhm.
So I thought, these, if you look, there's a slot there that fits the braid.
Mm-hmm.
So now what I can do is I can mount this against the, do I have one? Yeah, I do. Hang on 1 second. I'm gonna mount these like this, put the copper braid over the top, and I won't have such a big hump there. I tried using just the wire, but I couldn't get it spread out enough to make it without a hump. But this comes very close to fixing the problem.
And then you run copper over that.
Yeah, run copper over the top of it. That covers the problem of the copper tape not being conductive because there is no such thing as conductive adhesive.
Yeah.
So that should be good, I think. So we'll see. It's been an ongoing saga with that thing, but I managed to. I now have a double pit lane. I ordered. LEB had the left and right hand sides of the pit lane of Scale Electric on sale for $40, and I went, oh! Now I have on the new track, I will have pit lanes for both lanes. So you have a 1-lane pit lane, but on both sides. So
That's
you can
crazy.
choose. If somebody's in the pit lane, you can take a look and say, "Oh, I'll go to the other one then."
That's a
And
crazy
there's-
good price for pit lane for a set of pit lanes. Those were like $100.
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. Well, I think, no, I think they were 78, something like that.
They were more
Oh.
than a double lane changer, which I always
Yeah.
was kind of strange. But yeah, $40 for a pit lane set is a good price.
Yeah, yeah, I thought, oh, gonna snap that up.
Yeah. But that was at LEB, you said?
Yeah,
Nice.
they're on sale this month only, so for anybody who wants them, you know, get them while they're there. I'm sure they're getting rid of them because there's not that much call for digital scale X-ray.
Yeah.
So
Get them while
too
they're hot.
bad. I wish there were.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's all I got.
All righty. Thank you, sir. And I guess we're ready for John. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I think I mentioned last week that there was a model show coming up in Toronto on Saturday. So I did go, and it was very model focused, just so we went, no slot cars. It was actually one of the largest model competitions at least in Ontario. So let me just start sharing here. So here's my wristband. I got a wristband. I'm special. There we go. So of course they had vendors who had 32nd scale stuff that no one else wanted. So I couldn't resist. And I had to pick up one of these kits. I have one of these cars already built, but I never got these customizing because people wanted too much money for them. Believe it or not, I got this all in the cello. It's the reissue, but for $15.
Wow.
Now, and these are Canadian dollars. So in US, that's like
Yeah.
what, like 25 cents, right? This snap kit, there was a booth there that did nothing but import all of these wonderful Japanese kits. Unfortunately, I have most of them, except this one. And the reason I really kind of like this one is it's the original Countach without the big, T service on the back. And it's just a great little kit. It's going to make a really cool slot car. But again, now this booth, it was $23 and no tax. So you can't beat that. How can you not buy these things?
Yeah.
And I want to challenge Dewan. I'm sure I've already built one of these for the track, but I'm sure Dewan, you know what my intention is for this one, don't you? Oh, Dewan's not here. Okay.
Fat copter.
You got it. Well done, John. Yep, exactly. Yep. So I thought I'd and again, this was like, usually it's about a $75 kit now because they've been out of I guess circulation for quite a while, and I managed to get it for 40 Canadian, which is actually quite a deal. But again, because the show was more military and I guess airplane focused.
Yeah.
Now I came across this tray of already built models, and all I wanted was this Land Rover. I wanted the Land Rover for a like for scenery around the track. And of course, it came with a wonderful, injured person. So I offered the chap $10 just for the Land Rover. He begged me, he agreed to the $10, but he begged me to take the entire tray. So I thought, okay, I thought, oh my gosh, what else is in here? And oh my gosh, like the first of all, this Land Rover is really, really cool. I mean, I'll clean it up and the doors open. It's the Tamiya kit. It's just a great kit. There's a Pink Panther Land Rover right beside it that you can turn into something.
Yeah.
There's a guardhouse, which would be a great marshal's hut. And of course, another stretcher, which I didn't realize. I mean, just a treasure trove of stuff. I guess it's sort of like a road barricade. Again, another Land Rover. That's 3 Land Rovers for the price of 1. And much like the real ones, they don't run. And then this sort of, I think it's like a Dodge Power Wagon here.
Yeah.
It was just like, how could you beat
Actually,
all that for $10?
in the early 50s, when road racing was taken off in the United States, probably Canada too, the courses and the clubs used a lot of surplus military vehicles for their
Yeah, because
ambulances just to run around the tracks, to do their track things. Not
well,
not
yeah,
to
especially
race.
around. Yep. Especially if you had a track like Watkins Glen or Moseport, where there's some, it's hilly and stuff. Yeah, because they were reliable, inexpensive,
Yep.
and yeah, no, it was
Dirt
great.
cheap.
And dirt cheap. Yep, exactly right.
I saw an ad from an old Auto Week, and you could buy a functioning Jeep, I guess Willys or Ford or something, for $25.
Oh, geez.
Ad where you can buy them for 25. And they were just throwing them away, giving them away.
Yeah, and they probably came with a full tank of fuel.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But this one is just it's awesome. And I mean, figures again. I can do a little bit. So again, I encourage everyone, go to a model show. And I didn't cover the actual contest because there are other people doing that and they posted it on YouTube and they do a much better job than I would have. But the work that these folks did, oh my gosh, just
dioramas and stuff.
Yeah, great stuff. So and then
John?
the next one is actually on the 27th of September, and that one is a model show and slot car show. So that's the one that's coming up on the 27th in Toronto.
John?
Yes.
There's actually one this weekend, John.
Oh, where is it, Chris?
Eden Mills.
Where's that? Sorry.
10 miles this side of Guelph.
Oh, okay. I might check that out. Is it on Saturday?
Sunday.
Oh, Sunday. Oh, okay. Cool. Thanks, Chris.
I know. I saw something in your presentation there that I didn't seem to make sense to me. It was on the lid of the Bell helicopter.
Yeah.
Care to explain to me what 2'N1 meant?
Oh, 2-in-1. So you could have it as a military helicopter. So you could put the like MASH. You could put the stretchers on the side or not, or you could have it as a civilian helicopter.
So they didn't put the I; they just put an apostrophe.
Marketing.
Yeah, there you go.
2-in-1.
2-in-1.
I thought that's the only thing it could possibly mean, but it didn't make sense to me as an English
Yeah,
speaker.
because I found that out to your point. Building the other helicopter for my track. Yeah, so that when you look in the instructions, that's what the 2-in-1 is about.
I've got you. Thank you.
All right.
And the only way you differentiate between the two, I think it's like 4 pieces that you don't glue onto the underside.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you, sir. And Phil, did you want to share? Did you see my question about where you get the slot boxes from?
No, I didn't see that. Super
John
Cheap
G.
Auto here in Australia have them.
What was it?
Super Cheap Auto.
Super cheap. Okay, so that was his question.
It's a local automotive parts and accessory supplier.
Yeah,
and they have them usually in stock. I paid about $25 for mine, but the boys that had them the other night said they paid about 34 Australian. So yeah pretty good at that price. That's for sure.
I was just telling John D to go to Super Cheap.
Yeah.
All right, what would you like to show and tell?
Oh, well, coming up shortly, we have a series starting in a couple of weeks. It's called the Tasman Cup Series, which is based on the Tasman Cup Series and 1.5 litre F1 Series. And we have 4 fairly new guys here that aren't scratch builders, didn't want to build anything, and weren't going to compete. So between Big Den and myself, Den managed to find some Penelope pit lane chassis. So I've been reasonably busy building a few up for the guys. They're not quite finished yet. But, John would probably appreciate these. And I know Dennis would. And Chris is there. Chris has did a couple of proxy races down here over the years. Yeah. So I've built these up for the guys. They're fairly basic. Just use Penelope pit lane chassis. Instead of being brass and wire, I just didn't have time. So built them up, and they're all same configuration. We use a motor that I sourced out of China, which is 17,900 revs, and it gives pretty good performance. So it fits in what was originally the old BWA class. So I filled those 4 up, and well, actually I built 5 up. One's already been sold and gone the other night, and these will be finished this weekend for delivery on Tuesday. But I think I have a bit of a problem though. I've got to build another one for myself, and I'm really not sure what to do. But I seem to have a fascination with Lotus 32 Jim Clark for some reason. And so far I've got 3 of them actually running. I opened another box and found 2 more completed bodies here. So I think that's what I'll end up running.
Well, I see you did the right thing, Phil. If you put 2 in a box, they just multiply.
Well, they seem to, John, that's for sure. So, it's like all these Formula One. Between Dennis and I, we had quite a bit of stuff here because Dennis brought down a box for me with the Penelope chassis in them. And also in that was about 4 or 5 Super Shells bodies. And when I started hunting around in all my resin bodies, including a Brabham, I think that might have come from a certain Mr. Kit in Canada at one stage, I found 4 more Super Shells and monogram F1 bodies. So, yeah, you're right. You don't leave them together or you end up in trouble. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I gotta say though, those low tide look absolutely lovely.
Yeah. So, no, so I hope the boys enjoy them anyhow. I mean, we have 4 guys racing now that wouldn't have been racing otherwise because they're just not interested in scratch building. If you can't buy it off the shelf, they don't want to race it these days. It's a shame because the brass and wire chassis are great, but just can't get people to build them anymore.
Well, you know what, Phil? Maybe as
disappointing.
as the prices of ready-to-run cars rise, they may be motivated.
Yeah, they might be. I hope so. So I'd like to see them build them, but this is a good stopgap anyhow. And I want to show them that these chassis, they're simple, easy to bend up. This particular, I won't turn my camera around. This particular Lola, right?
Very nice.
Yeah,
that one's very nice.
I love the suspension detail. Did you do that?
I'll tell you, John, that car was built up actually a couple of years ago by my granddaughter.
Excellent.
Excellent. She was only 14 or 15 at the time, and I was looking after him during the school holidays, and she wanted to have a go at building a car. So I got one of these Penelope pit lane chassis out, which she managed to bend up herself, which I think was absolutely great. And I helped her with the suspension, but she learned how to solder and put it together. And the worst part of it, she insisted on entering in the local proxy race down here, Tasman Cup race organised by Stubbo, Alan Stubbings, and she won the bloody thing.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome.
It was absolutely brilliant, John. That's for sure. Yeah.
Now here's the real benefit, though. She now knows how to solder, which means she can do her own plumbing.
Yes, that's true. Well, she's now living up in Queensland and talking about buying a house. And when she was down a few months ago, I said to her, "Well, you can do some of that after what you've done." So, anyhow, that's all I've got. I hope it's a good series. It's usually very, very close racing. So, yes. So I've got to try and get time this week to finish my own cars now.
And I have to say, it's nice seeing you up and about. You seem to be doing very well.
Oh, I'm doing reasonably well. I'm not perfect, John, but at least I'm up and about and I can do a fair bit. There's some things I can't do around the place, bending and lifting I can't do, but other than that, I'm doing reasonably well. And I resign myself to the fact that, this is about it. And old age has caught up on me a bit, as it does. That's for sure. All right, thank you, guys.
Well, it's great to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks, John.
All right, good stuff. Any other show and tells out there?
just got this thing.
Oh, let me.
I showed it maybe a month ago or something. My neighbor gave me. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
that's another Pagani with the weird Gulf livery. So anyway.
Kind of goldfish, but also not.
That is all.
Cool looking cars, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And they're still Sidewinder, I think, right?
No,
Right.
they're in line,
They're in line now? Oh, okay.
Yeah. but that's
Oh.
okay. They handle fairly well.
Yeah. All right, I guess no more show and tell. Then we're ready to move on to Club Corner. So if anybody has racing they want to talk about, let's do it. Go ahead, Mike.
Let me see if I can get my finger to make things come up. Come on, wake up. Okay. So this was the first race we did. We did Revo slot GTs, and I didn't get up here in time to get pictures of the cars, but we had my first Revo slot, the Porsche 911 GT2, which I haven't touched for probably 3 years, something like that. Well, now that I have the Toyota Supra and the Lister Storm, I thought, well, we got a class, so I'll use those and see what happens. Turns out I over tweaked the Porsche. The Porsche had a bigger motor, just a stronger motor. It wasn't any different from the original ones, but it was fast enough that it took the two new ones, the Supra and the Lister Storm, to task. So Shiggy had the Porsche 911, and to be fair, I had given myself a 20-liter fuel disadvantage. So I had essentially the slowest car on track and the biggest fuel disadvantage, and I still finished second on, as you can see, only 5 laps behind at the end. And it was every fuel stop, I would lose 2 laps to Shiggy on a fuel stop, and I'd only gain back a 1.5. So you can see that's where most of the loss comes from. And I did have my share of incidents with the ghost car, let's call it. And Joel has become very adept at being in front of me, pulling out just after fueling right in front of me, and then knocking the ghost car off and pinning it to the walkway that I have over the back. So I'm the one who gets nailed and gets the 5-second penalty because I hit the ghost car. He did it 3 or 4 times, and it was like, oh my God. All right, Joel, stop it. So it was pretty fun. And anyway, that was the first race. The second race, we did Group C's, and I made up those 5 laps for Shiggy, getting me in the first race. So I managed to get that. And I had, of the 3 cars, I did I took out the big guns this time. So I had the R89, the Nissan R89, and I had a Porsche 956. And what was the other one? Oh, the Jaguar XJR 12. So, both the Nissan and the Jaguar are quite quick cars. So I was running probably 3 to 4 tenths down on the overall. I still managed to pull out a great lap for the qualifying and get in first place. And once I got in there, I just never stopped. I had very little problems with coming out of the slot. I just took it easy and ran my own race, and had no problem at all. I was never headed at that point, so that was a good thing. And I made Shiggy really work hard to come after me. Hence, he fell off a lot. So it was fun. We really had a good time. Also, last week after the Wednesday, my stepdaughter's ex-boyfriend from Milwaukee came up and he was traveling through and stopped by to say hi and see Sarah, and he see us too. And he has been racing slot cars in Milwaukee for a while. So he came over and he had never done either non-magnet cars or digital. He had slot raced, but he hadn't done, and he was quick. He caught on to everything really, really fast. There's a video up. I did beat him handily, but even with a pretty big fuel load, but that was mostly down to the fact that I know what I'm doing with the fuel stuff, and he was just learning. So that was a lot of it, but it was a good, fun race, and he did not come out excessively, not any more than Joel or Shiggy does usually. So it was a run for my money in that regard. So, but I was a bonus race day, so I was thrilled.
And what were his summary comments then? Because it's his first exposure. What were his thoughts?
He loved it. He absolutely loved it. He went, "Oh, this is different. I like this." So it was he had no problems adjusting to the amount of traction that was there. It made him very hard to pass when I'd come around to try and lap him or something like that. So we had a lot of good dices then. The races are up on the channel if you want to look. So it was good fun. I enjoyed it a lot, and he was pretty thrilled about it. He doesn't have a lot of people to race with back in Milwaukee, and so I guess most of the guys that he was racing with before are more interested in the socializing and the beer than they are in the racing. So he was a little disappointed in that, and after a while, it sort of fell apart. So I'm hoping he doesn't have a good place to set a track up. He's living in a small apartment, so it would be nice if he had a space to set up a track and do that. So we'll see. It was nice to see him, and we had a good time. And that's all I got.
All righty. Can you stop your share for you? Oh, you got it. Good job. All right. Any other racing people want to talk about? All right. Are we ready for our next tier list, Jeremy? What you got, Dewan?
I was gonna raise my hand. I was just gonna announce that the Faro Club has a race this weekend at Electric Dreams using the Nyland track, the 8-lane 124 scale track, and we're gonna be using I believe that's why I was trying to bring up my notes before I jumped into it. The cars that they're going to be racing is the 124 scale BRM. This is a BRM team race. It's a team race, and it's sponsored by Scale Auto. They're going to have the Scale Auto foam tires, and so it's supposed to be pretty nice. And I'm 50-50 on being able to make it out there. So if I can feel comfortable enough to walk through the airport, then I'll be there. Yep. So that's this weekend.
Get ready. Those foam tires at Scale Auto, depending on they're pretty handy actually.
Yeah,
they'll be quick. I would expect.
Yeah, it's 45. I think it's 45 minutes on all 8 lanes, so that's going to be a full day event. So, yeah, each team has to race on all 8 lanes. So we'll see how that works out. That's going to be.
and that's at Electric Dreams.
Yeah. It'll be live streamed as well.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? The floor is open. It looks like Jeremy put his question up. If we want to do a tier list.
Sorry, I was just eating. I didn't know how long you guys were gonna have more racing.
We're just a bunch of dudes who love slot cars sitting around talking about slot cars.
Gonna do a tier list. This is the question of the day. You have to take $100 worth of car and parts, whatever combination you want. So if you want to buy a cheap car and fill it up with different parts, up to $100 limit, or if you're in the UK, £100, different, whatever. The race format is going to be last man standing. Whichever car goes the furthest before it dies is the winner. So obviously NSR is going to crush speed wise some of the other brands like, you know, Carrera. But with the parts you can get for, I mean, you're probably going to get an NSR box stock, possibly tires at that price. You know, the Carrera, you might be able to get some extra tires, maybe a motor, whatever. So with that in mind, whoever goes the furthest, which of the brands, how would you rank them? Let me share the screen here.
So,
Wait,
so
may,
as
may,
part
may
of
I
your
ask, may I ask,
question, hold
may I ask
on.
a question, Jeremy? Sorry.
Probably the same one as me. So go ahead, John.
Oh, I was just going to ask, are we precluded from taking that $100 and building a scratch built car?
You are. Because I'm only interested in the tier lists of cars that are in production, you know, that people can go out and buy, just so people that are kind of getting into the hobby, that are interested, can kind of look at the different things and kind of get our evaluations of things. But scratch building is all over the place. Like if you could have $100 worth of scratch building, that'd be a whole other can of worms.
You still don't have SCX on there.
I've never found any SCX that I can find and go, oh, okay, and confirm that they're making cars that are available. Like, I don't know who has them available, but for the sake of, I'll look at it next tier list. But until somebody can show me where SCX is making cars, has them,
Spain,
and is planning on making them. No, Spain. I'm not going to Spain to get a car.
I'm just saying they're out there. They're just not in the States.
Yeah, so it's not really readily available.
When you say which car goes the long, what does that mean?
Just whichever car goes, you know, 1,000 miles. We race the car for 28 days, and it finally dies. You're out of the race. Whatever. I mean, it's a ridiculous premise, but I know that we always have like 24-hour races. This is just the car keeps going until it drops dead. Or maybe your tires give out, and you think, well, I know that some cars make better tires, some don't. I mean, but you have $100 limit to make your choice. What I'm going to do on this one, though, I think what will work best is I'll pick somebody else in the chat to kind of start the list and seed it, and then we'll talk about it. Dewan's volunteering.
Well, I have one more question. Let me get my question in, then maybe Dewan's is the same or different.
Okay.
My question is, can you use your budget to have spare parts to put in the car if a thing fails?
Yes, that's what I was saying.
So if a motor fails, I can put another motor in as long as I'm still within my $100 budget.
Correct. And just you have to kind of use average prices, you know, because the premium brands are close to 90-ish nowadays. Even Scale Electric's up in the 80s and 90s. So some of the budget brands, you might be able to get an extra motor and you might not. You just kind of play it by ear. I didn't want to put a price list on everything and get you down to specifics, but I said within that $100 range. So Dewan or Wayne, do you guys want to start this?
I had an additional question first.
Okay.
So, and this is I don't know if this was a way you had factored or not. It's strictly based on time endurance. It doesn't matter how many laps this thing can do. Like you can have a car that does 10 laps a minute versus another car that's going to do.
The race is going to be who goes the furthest. So on
on
a track, the NSR is going to go the furthest over some of the cheaper brands, obviously. But does it die at 9,000 laps? And then you're on 6,000. Do you still keep going until you reach 9,000? Like, so that's
makes sense. Okay. So distance.
Sure.
Total distance over the course of time. Excellent.
Okay. Do either one of you want to go and give me a brand?
Yeah.
Don't bother with. Go ahead, Dewan. I'll let you do it.
To not bother with? Okay. I was going to give you my number one brand.
Sure. Give me your number one brand. That's fine.
Okay, I for whatever reason believe that I would go with a Scale Electric car and have a few spare parts.
And you would put that as a superior choice?
For this type of a race, yeah.
For this event.
Yes. And not that I have any experience in these areas, but
nobody does. It's not a real race, so it's just kind of a see which brand you can beat to heck and keep running for under $100.
So this is with magnets, without magnets? What are the rules here?
Which do you want? Do you want magnets or no magnets?
Oh,
it doesn't matter. So let's just say no magnets. That's fine.
No magnets. I'll take the magnets out. Yeah.
Where would you put slot?
I think removing the magnet would be a good strategy for this kind of event anyway.
Sure, you don't want too much pressure pulling down your whole chassis and bearings and tires and everything.
Which I agree with that. However, with the limited guide rotation that Scale Electrics have cars without good drivers, There's a chance you're gonna snap a guide blade or a guide post hole.
We're not gonna rotate the car that far, quite honestly, because I'm gonna run my car really,
Slow and
really
steady.
quite slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna run it really, really low, gently and long.
So is there some kind of time limit? Is this like 10 days or 2 weeks or 3 months or?
Could be
It
2 years. I don't know if
It
the
could be as
the
long as
Carrera
everything
never
lasts.
conks out, so we'll have AI robots racing it for us. That's the event. Give me where would you put slotted at, Wayne? Is it an above choice for this kind of racing?
I think it's reasonably good value for money to buy a slotted car, and you would still, I think, have money for some motors and tires and possibly gears,
What's a
depending on
slotted
what you
car run
thought you
these
needed
days?
for it.
What do you think it
Well,
runs
hang
these
on,
days?
you've
About
got $100, right?
you had $100 limit, yeah. What's the
So
slotted
how
run
many
about?
motors and gears and
85?
tires are you gonna buy?
Yeah, you're not gonna buy that many.
Well, tell me what the dollar value of a slotted car is now.
What is it around where you're at? I don't know. I think it's like around $80.
It's $80 now. Yeah, for the
So
Oh
that,
gosh, so with that, then you would probably get one additional motor, maybe,
maybe
but you'd get a couple of gears and a couple of sets of rear tires
tires are
instead of that
seven,
motor.
$8 a piece. Yeah.
I
If you
think
pick
it
and
might be a
choose.
superior, actually. Certainly above average, and it's one of those two rows for me.
All right, we'll talk about it at the end. That's not a problem. Let's go back. Dewan, any thoughts on Thunderslot?
No experience with them.
Okay. Wayne, any experience with Thunderslot?
No, I'm like
Boy,
Duan on that.
boy, your opinions matter nothing. All right. Who has an
Your
opinion?
answer.
They're supposed to be very fast. That's all I
For
know.
me, I would put it in this competition, it would be below average because Thunderslots, they're going for over $90. That means what you get out of the box is what you're going to race the whole event, and your
Yeah.
tires are not going to last that entire race. So I would put that below average, even though it's a fine in one of the top cars, but just for this format, it would be terrible.
I don't know.
Go ahead.
I think so.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so. I think it would, the tires that are originally on them are pretty good and last a long time. The cars themselves are pretty bulletproof and they handle really, really well out of the box.
Right.
So I would say, with the exception of the Mustang or the non-Mustang, whatever you want to call it, but their Can-Am cars are quite good out of the box, and I would say it maybe slightly below slotted.
Remember,
And
what
I
you
don't
pull out of
think-
the box with it, that's about all you're going to get. I don't
Yeah.
even know if you get enough
Well, you
tires.
can get another set of tires.
Maybe they're $10 a piece, aren't they? So
Well, it's for 4.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good deal. All right,
Yeah.
I can go above average. That's fine.
So
Can we agree
Anyone
Le
got-
Mans miniatures don't bother? I mean,
Yeah.
I feel bad for them. They keep getting on the don't bother list, but they're not
Yeah,
really doing much
they're
to help us.
$100. You can't even get them for $100.
I was gonna say you can't even get a car for them from them.
Right.
Under
Let's try to look at some of the easy team slot. Anybody have thoughts on team slot? Otherwise, I'll put it as a don't bother.
I tell you, for the money that you don't have to pay
Yeah.
for certain Carrera cars, you could put lots of parts on that thing.
I agree with that, John.
Oh, Carrera becomes a contender. Where would you guys
I
put that?
think so.
Above
I'd say
average, superior choice?
superior or above average. And
Yeah, up there.
More above average. It's the tires have got to be. I mean,
Yeah. But you're
yeah.
going to run it
cars-
nice and slow, so they're not. The hardness is a benefit.
The motors could be replaced because those are about
Yeah, you're going to replace
Yeah,
the
you
$20
can
motors,
put a
replace
few.
the tires.
You can pop a few gears in there, pop a few motors in there, and you keep that
And
thing going a
I
long,
think
long
the
time.
motors that you
$100.
buy separately, I think they come with a pinion on them usually. I think
Yeah.
it's been a
Can
while.
you just
Because they're
buy 2
inline.
Carrera cars? 2 Carrera cars are less than $100.
Maybe that'd be a good choice.
I
Have
was
a
gonna
team
say
race.
Carrera for those reasons, but then I reconsidered a little bit because they're still plastic wheels, so you're likely to get a car that's gonna have a lot of vibrations that are gonna degrade parts more quickly than a car with better parts to begin with. But at the same time, it's such an inexpensive car, you can have a lot of spare parts. So
You know,
it's a
full
toss-up.
axle kit for
I'd probably
$9.
put it in above average rather than superior because
You can buy a Carrera car and the NSR conversion kit for the axle and gear and still have 40
Nah, you gotta stick within brand. Stick within brand.
brand related parts only?
Brand only. Sorry.
So
Are
we
we in
have,
agreement that Pioneer is in general a relatively low cost car?
I would put Pioneer at
No.
Superior myself.
They're on the expensive side. They're at least as expensive as Scalextric, if not
Yeah.
more.
I'd put a Legend
Okay.
car on there on the track
So
because
I
it's so
would
cheap.
I would tender on that basis then that Pioneer would be a below average choice because it's actually quite a sloppy car in my opinion, and I don't think the gears are all that great in either in some of them.
So I would put a Legend car in its Superior, and because it's wide, short, and the urethane tires they have, like the Superthane, those are really hard. They last forever. Gears are cheap, parts are cheap. I mean, you can get a Legends car for about $60, I think, and it has bushings in the front and the back, so that's going to be less. Like the Scalextric has the plastic front bushings.
But on that same comment though, Jeremy, we're not discussing a particular chassis. We're particularly looking at a brand.
I know, but I'm saying that's what I would take. I mean, if I
Yeah.
was gonna pick the Pioneer, I would take that car. Like just like if you pick the Carrera car, you're gonna take the one that's probably the best. You're not gonna take one of the dump trucks they make or anything, the semi trucks. You're gonna take the best one for the event.
By the same token, I think Polycar kind of comes in there too, because I think the basic model is good. Some of the parts are a little cheaper, but you can replace those, and they're just interchangeable practically with slotted. So
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I want to get one thing straight here before we go any farther. We were talking about replacing parts, but if you have to replace the parts with the same brand parts, what improvement does it do you to replace the parts?
Your car keeps running. Like if you're
Duration.
letting the car run for days and the axle finally gives out in the teeth strip, you put in a new axle and you're back up and running, kind of like a real endurance event.
so how many more days does a Carrera car with stock tires without its magnet have to run before it even comes close to an NSR or a slotted or a Polycar?
I'd have to do the math. I got to be honest. I haven't
There's
worked that out.
Yeah, I'm going with an NSR 908 with a couple sets of tires. I don't think anything can outrun it.
Right.
And 2 or 3 sets of tires would probably last 2 months on a regular track.
Right.
Yeah, not many arguments.
So this is, I'm sorry, the rule is how many laps or
No, it's
how much
whoever-
time? How much time?
When your car dies from parts failure, that's where you end. That's what we mark the distance for. And the other cars keep going until they die. Finally, the last car dies. That if it's made it the furthest, that's going to be the
all
winner.
the
But if the NSR went further because it went faster, then that's the winner.
Given the way we race these cars, nothing's going to wear out. You're not going to wear out bushings. You're not going to wear out a motor. You might
2 years from now, will it wear out?
I tell you what I think will happen. I think brass pinions will give way. I think plastics might just outlast a brass. And I don't think that's necessarily true of the Scalextric pinion though, because the Scalextric plastic pinions, they don't last either. So I think a good car with, an NSR gears I always have nervousness about. I often see a lot of NSR aluminium spur gears that look like they've got sharp fins for gear teeth. And they're still running quietly and they're still running quickly, but they look nasty. And I often wonder whether they last very long. I can't speak from any experience. But your NSR car might need a few sets of gears. Just an
Eventually,
opinion.
the brass will start to
run it at 50% power. It'll last.
Well, this is the question, isn't it? This is what makes it difficult and fun.
My God.
Sorry, I just wanted something goofy to talk about, like for an endurance race. And Wayne's racing and endurance made me think of this. What would be a real endurance race? How would that go? What about the other brands like?
I think
I
Scale
wouldn't-
Auto would be quite good, but I don't know what they cost.
So I don't know about Revo Slot because the Revo Slot parts, they got ball bearings, they got bushings, they got hard tires.
Good parts. They come
They
with
do,
good
yeah.
parts, but
But
they have to last. So
Do they last? I don't know.
The chassis is going to last.
That's true. That might actually be a good. It might get really loud towards the end of its life, but it'll keep
Well,
going.
yeah, I think the most prone part for duration on one of those is probably again the gears.
Gears.
What maintenance are we allowed? Regular maintenance? Any regular
Nothing.
maintenance?
No.
Nothing.
Put it on the track and let it go. The robots
Okay,
will
I
race
read-
until they die.
if you have
I can tell you one thing, if you don't stop the Revo slot with their crummy bearings and don't oil them, they're not gonna last.
Yeah, you
Okay.
don't want metal bearings now. If we can't oil, you'd rather have plastic bushings.
There you go. So bring it down to below average.
Well, it depends on what,
Average. It's all hypothetical. There's nothing serious here. Scale Auto, how would that do? They make pretty good parts. I don't know. They're in the top
I'd say that would do good.
prices. Above average.
At least, yeah.
Cars, it's hard.
Why wouldn't it be superior?
I have no idea. I'm just throwing a thing out there. You tell me.
I'm asking myself that question. Why would it not be great? I think it would
Whatever
be great.
you spend on it, that's all you're going to get, though, right? Because the cars are pretty expensive. So out of the box,
Can you get them for $100?
I think so, right around there, the 90 to $100.
Are we counting white kits because they're cheaper?
Stop it, Jim. You're making this too complicated. SRC.
I don't think many of us have used many, have they? Have we?
I have an SRC, and it's got almost like slotted gearing kind of in the little Porsche. It's got bushings. I think it's metal bushings, though. Yeah, I don't know. But then it's expensive, and there's not a lot of parts.
Porsche 907.
Yeah, whichever one that was in. I think it's a 914.
Oh,
yeah, there's the 914 and a 907.
Yeah.
So who's done a lot of racing with MR slot cars?
Me.
Chris.
Okay, Chris.
Chris,
Sorry?
where would you put MR slot car?
Well, I really don't know what they all use motors out of the same factory.
Sure.
What's the difference? Like if you're putting slotted Polycar NSR, Mr. Slot Car deserve to be right along beside.
All right. Sideways.
Same. Agreed.
Fly.
Not the same.
No. Below average.
Average. Anyone to disagree with the below average?
Average or below average?
I would put the fly slot cars
out of the box. Don't bother.
Average or above average?
I would put that at the same as Scalextric, though, right?
No.
If you can't touch them, put it right in the bottom.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree.
Avant slot.
Well,
Those are kind of
Geo's
expensive.
not here, so
depends which one you buy.
Well, you can pick any one you want out of from Avant or Avant slot and race it.
Yeah, their Mirage is a great car.
Good
but-
parts.
Yeah.
Metal. All right. So would that go on the above the top?
Well,
I would say
Above
even
average at least.
underslot in that regard.
All right. Any hard disagreements on this list? The only thing I can think of is there's no way Scalextric should be on superior to one. You're crazy. You're crazy. That front axle, the plastic is gonna melt off it eventually when it's running.
I might knock Avant slot down a notch because they're $100 cars.
Yeah, it's a $100 car.
You're not getting any spare parts with an Avant.
Right, but that's what you get out of the box. You have to hope it goes the distance.
I honestly can't see a Scalextric pinion gear going very far. How many of those are you going to replace?
Yeah. Okay. I'll
we twisted his arm.
Well, it's populated, so we've now got to look at it and go, what's clearly wrong with it? And I don't know what we're going to say about that.
No, I don't know. It's just something different now. So you guys think that all these are about the same? It's just a random crapshoot as to who goes the furthest.
I mean, the Carrera is not even going to be close at speed, but if it's unlimited time, there's no way to know.
There's no,
it's almost unlimited parts for a Carrera car because the cars are so inexpensive. You can throw a lot of because the price of the purchase of the car gives you a lot of spare parts. I think Carrera is it actually deserves that place potentially.
My deal on the Carrera, it's got to last 2 to 3 times longer than the other ones because your lap times with stock tires and no magnet are going to be so hideous. It doesn't matter how goddamn long it's going to run.
Yeah.
You can't oil the bushings.
If you can replace the tires, that's one thing. But if you have to use stock tires on a Carrera, forget it. That's right at the bottom.
That was the rule. Apparently, you have to run Carrera parts on Carrera cars.
Yeah, that would drop
Correct.
down, way down for me.
Right.
For what? For tire life?
Yeah. Well, no.
Yeah, this is you can't performance.
Tire traction.
Performance.
For actual performance.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
So does
performance
does
is
it
so
drop
bad with
one
the
tier
original.
then?
Not to mention they're completely out of round always.
At least one tier down from where they are, if not more, because
Oh,
yeah, since we started off with no mag for a variety of reasons, Carrera just is going to drop because, yeah.
Yeah.
Keep going. Keep going.
I'm not gonna put Carrera below Scale Electric. Those two are about the same to me. Like I would give the advantage to Carrera.
Stock Electric tires have better grip than stock.
Yes,
Way better.
absolutely.
Way better.
Absolutely.
Wayne, any thoughts?
Well, you've had a fair few from me.
Anybody
I'm
disagree?
reasonably, you could leave it there for me. I'm quite comfortable with what I'm looking at.
All right. All right.
Anyone
Anything
else?
else stand out as obnoxiously wrong?
I would drop Polycar down one personally.
Why is that? Just because they use a cheaper part for their.
Yeah.
That makes sense. But then I wouldn't put these at the same level. That means I would drop these two down.
No, you
Just those two.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So
Okay.
you're leaving slotted up on the top, and Polycar comes one down, and they're essentially the same thing.
Yeah, but the parts,
Yeah.
most of the cars, the parts are not the same, not quite the same.
Yeah, plastic wheels and stuff.
Plastic rear wheels.
I have
And then-
no concept of why that would limit its capabilities, quite honestly.
I mean,
I know they're not as high quality.
Thunder slot should probably be up one. I mean, it's got plastic gears, which are good plastic gears. It's got great tires. They're super quick out of the box.
But that's probably all you're getting when you buy it, because you're going to be paying.
No spares.
Yeah, you're not going to have. You're going to be paying $90 or so.
You can probably get one set of tires, which is probably all you need, or one set of brakes.
Maybe you can get a set of tires.
Oh, do you know what's missing from all of my thinking? Braid. Braid.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Carrera comes with extra brake, but that still doesn't make it that good, I don't think.
No.
Because they're all
No,
going to
plus
outlast their
the
braid,
braid
aren't
is
they?
bespoke and terrible.
But braid is cheap. You got enough money to buy it for any one of those cars.
Any one of those cars. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
$5 for a roll of braid, and have braid for the next 2 years.
Okay. Well, we can. I'll go back to not thinking about it.
I mean, those top 5 cars, I other than braid and tires, depending on the track and how fast you try to drive it, I can't see any of those breaking, even if you ran them for a month straight, 24/7.
Right.
I'm going to run them through the desert on a track that goes from California
No.
to
You can't
Nevada.
bring sand into the equation, I'm afraid.
I'm just saying though, it's trying to. Eventually, something will break and it will die. Like if you had robots
Yeah.
running these cars forever.
What will break on a slotted car is if you can't change it, the lead wire will crack going into the guide. If you can't change that, slotted's in trouble.
Oh yeah. You'll fatigue the cable because it's
You'll
trapped with
fatigue
the
the
grub
wire going
screw.
into the guide.
So
you
thinking
can't
left
change
to
that.
right, usually we put the top one to the left and we move it to the
Ooh,
right.
yeah.
So
Forgot
I can
about
move that over to the right. It doesn't matter.
But I mean,
Yeah.
seriously, if you can't change that on a slotted, it would go down to average to me because it's not going to last.
I'm not going
But
to average, Jim.
you can repair it, Jim. You can keep repairing it because
Okay.
and it's got spare wire right there in the chassis.
does have spare
you
wire.
break it off, you just strip a bit more and
Okay.
go again.
And it comes with parts underneath it sometimes, doesn't it? Some of the cars, I don't know what they have underneath it.
No, they don't have braid.
They have a gear and no, they don't have a gear. Some of the cars come with different things. I know it comes with a wrench. I'd have to think of it.
They come with a wrench and sometimes spare plastic parts, but they
Oh,
don't.
okay.
They used to come with silicone tires, but that was ages ago.
Oh, Revo slot comes with 2 guides, the deep wood guide and the regular guide. So there you go. You're off to a better start for guides.
That's never going to break.
I know.
Pioneer comes with spare guide and spare braid.
Oh, that moves it up to me.
That's why it's above average then, because I personally don't think Pioneer axles are very hard or personally, my experience with them is they've got bushers that flop around in the chassis a little bit. They're not particularly close fitting to the axles. I don't know how hard the axles are. I've never tried to run one all that long.
Electric and Carrera come with extra braid and extra flags too, guide flags.
Oh yeah, you're right, John.
Why was Revo where it is again?
Bearings.
The bushings.
What about the spur
you're not
gear?
able to oil them, so
yeah.
once they go, they're going to start jamming up.
Yeah.
But they are ball bearings, so they should go quite a ways.
Well, there's ball bearings and there's ball bearings, Jeremy.
Yeah.
You can buy a set of Revo slot ball bearings for $2, or you can buy some good quality 6th grade bearings for $65 a pair. And I tell you, those bearings are not going to go forever and ever and ever without oil.
They are packed with a lot of grease in them.
They have a lot of sticky grease in there. That is true.
Somebody on YouTube, John D, of course, pointed out that you cannot get a roll of braid from Carrera or Scalextric and some others. Some of them sell spare braids, but for much more expense than a roll of braid would cost. So
that's true, but the Carrera braid's never going to wear out.
They're pretty stiff. Yeah, they're pretty hard.
All right. The only thing I think of is I'd put fly ahead of these two. Any other disagreements? Are we good?
Ahead of.
Yeah,
Well,
go, Mike.
I'm confused on the rules again. We keep talking about spare parts, but the rule is the car runs till it drops.
But the rule is you can spend $100. Now, if you buy a $50 car, that leaves you $50 in parts to spend. That's where we're
that's
talking.
fine. So
Yeah.
you got a box full of parts, but if the car runs till it drops and you can't repair it, what good is the box full of parts?
You can repair it.
We're saying
If
I think it's pretty obvious that you can actually repair it once it stops, as long as you've got more parts.
Okay, well, if you can actually repair it, then why can't you oil the bearings, on the Revo slot?
Because then we'd be here all day. So it's just to have a fun, goofy question. That's all.
Well, I'm just having
Because
a fun,
we can't
goofy
tune them, true them. We're just
question.
buying them out of the box, taking your spare parts, putting them on the track, and hoping for the best. Robots will drive them for the next 7 days, and we'll see what happens.
I think
I've got to tell you, Jeremy,
Carrera and Scalextrics.
Yeah.
You've been very creative with the questions here. It's a good challenge.
Yeah. Please, if you have other questions or ideas for questions, please submit them to the chat sometime.
There are a couple already, actually.
Is there?
Oh, one anyway, in the
All
chat,
right.
Jeremy.
Oh, I see it now.
I'll keep it quiet for now because you may want to use it in future.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think I would swap Pioneer and Revo slot.
Over my dead body.
Okay.
No way. I don't really like Pioneer. I'm not a fan of most of their stuff, but the little cars they make, the Legends, those things are tanks and they just run and they're flat and they go surprisingly well. I would definitely take it over a Revo slot for longevity, but that's just me.
Yeah.
How many Revo slots do you have?
4.
Okay.
Oh, that was a. Okay.
Well, I wondered how much experience you had with them.
When we have a club class or something, I always try to buy 4. That way I can race them in my house with my kids. So, and then if it does turn out one of them's better, then I take that car from my kids and I start racing with it. Don't tell my kids. They don't know the difference.
I honestly think that one of the major critical areas for the longevity of these cars is not necessarily tires. It's going to be gears. I really think gears and gears and gears is going to answer to this.
You probably have the most experience in this area because you do it the most.
I do 24 hours, and I'll tell you, the cars could go another 24. They really could, in some cases. Even though we've raced them as fast as we can make them go, if we just backed off from that, they would go forever, seemingly. As long as we could feed them with our circumstances, as long as we could feed them tires, they would go for ages and ages and ages. But I can run braid for 24 hours without any concern at all. I get them right, fit them properly, clean them occasionally. They might stop due to the braids getting black and gummed up, we can repair that with a toothbrush and go again with the same braid. I really think this could last for weeks, and if you actually ran it.
I think this debate could last for weeks.
All right, so that's a good one to wrap it up with. I'm going to download this image. I'll share it on Slot Forum so other people that want to join in can take a look and make their own opinions known. All right, cool.
And by the way, Jeremy, you're the top of the list to actually run it.
I'm not running it unless I can program the cars to run themselves.
Well, you just built yourself a nice little wood track that you can start a car on and I'll just let it go.
Yeah, I'll get back to you in 12 years because the
When you
cars never get up to
finish
speed.
the experiment.
The track
Yeah.
will be sawdust by then.
That's true. All right, well, good topic. Let me stop my share.
Realistically, if you put one of those cars just like on a skid pad, you know, like a whatever radius corner, and let it run.
Yeah,
Cars would probably run for months unless something crazy happened. You know,
I know. And
we ran Scalextric's cars and Carrera cars as rental cars on the commercial track and didn't touch them. I'd comb out the braids every once in a while just to pick out crap out of them, and I'd oil them every once in a while. But we had Scalextric's cars and Carrera cars for ramp beginners who were beating the crap out of them because they're bashing them into the walls. And we had several of those cars that lasted for 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, there's your answer then.
Yeah.
Well, I know a guy that goes to school fairs and he goes to public fetes and he puts up two gazebos side by side and he puts the track in there, and he will have the same kind of amateur people who pin the throttle and go straight off at the end of the main straight, and he uses stock Scalextric cars and he will use the same one all day long, and he'll have a spare, but he'll nearly never need to use it. And he takes the same rally car, in particular with his rally track. He's got a circuit and a track, and a rally track. And he takes the same Ford Escort, and I've seen it. I've been seeing it at different events whenever I bump into him for years, and it's the same car, the very same car.
Somewhere on YouTube or online, I saw a little test that Scalextric did a few years ago. And they set up a little track and they just fixed the controller in one place so the car would just go around and around and around and around and around. And it went like you couldn't believe, like it was this like insane amount of distance this thing went. It just kept going and going and going.
That's a good thing, isn't it? It says something about the toys that people buy, that they are in general pretty good.
With the parameters that Jeremy set, though, right now, at this moment, the Carreras are a much better deal than Scalextric.
That's why I think they occupied a high spot for quite a while there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it depends. If again, this is a different discussion, but for Christmas morning, for your kids to run the track around the Christmas tree, it's pretty tough to beat Scalextric's or Carrera right out of the box on a Carrera set. That's what they're designed for. They just go and go and go.
Yeah. Like you say, you beat them to death, knock all the mirrors and bumpers and everything, they still keep going.
Well, the Germans build stuff, if it could use a 1/16 of an inch screw, they'll use a 3-inch screw. Like it's they're tough. Now they've got problems. As soon as you take the magnets out of them, they're going to be so bloody slow that they're going to have to run for 10 times longer than anything else just to even come close.
It's like if you take that Christmas tree and put a train around it, you go to whatever and buy a train set and turn it on. How long is it going to run?
Brushes, I think motor brushes might be the limitation in some cases, but motors, the motor brushes aren't much. We didn't discuss them, but they're not much of a concern for us in those little can motors, especially if we can have a couple of spares in the budget.
Right, and brushed motors, the ones we use, the $10 motors, run forever. However, they do not run at top performance forever.
Forever, exactly. Yeah.
So again, is it, can we're going to pick a time and you've got to run within 1/10 of a second of your ultimate lap record for however, that's a different equation to how long will the car keep moving?
Yeah.
Right. I've got motors. I've got hundreds of motors in the basement that will take over, and I could put them in a slot car and they will go, but I'm not putting them in any slot car because they won't go very quickly, but they'll go.
That's because we race.
I've got motors from the mid 60s that still go just fine.
Yeah. Good one.
Yeah, I agree.
Started.
It's fun to try and figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, any motor that you get, anyone can go poof right out of the box or last for 10 years.
I say the next time we have a topic, we should have some sort of blood pressure sort of
Monitors. Heart rate
yeah,
monitors.
at the same time. Yeah.
Everybody has to have an Apple Watch on just in case.
You got your hand up, Jim?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
You got your hand up.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I've got a future event. And if I can find my preview here. We have a 2-day race coming up this weekend at Motown. It's for Corvettes only, NSR Corvettes only, sponsored by Professor Motor. And this was our warm-up race last week. So we put all the cars we had out on track, not just the ones we raced. So we're expecting, I think, 24 entries for this weekend. So we'll probably have 30 or 40 cars out on the track to display the group shot. And so here's just a couple shots from last weekend at the warm-up race. C8s are obviously predominant. I think there was 1 or 2 C7s. I don't think we had any C6s. And then the concourse lineup with cars that have been painted, not original liveries. And we've got the t-shirt. If anybody wants to buy a t-shirt, it's available through Motown Raceway. And the race will be live streamed on the Motown Slot Car Raceway YouTube channel. Typically, Motown is on my channel, but he's transferring that over because rightly so, we want to get it on his channel now that we kind of build up a following. So hopefully build up the subscribers that he has. So it will be live streamed, but not on NorCal, on Motown Slot Car Raceway. And make sure you type that in because there's a legacy site from the old owners. I think it's just Motown Raceway. So Motown Slot Car Raceway. Here's what I've got ready to go. Bunch of tires, 2 cars. 1 car is for a friend of mine that Braden built. So I'm just taking that to the track for him. But I've got, it's a spec tire. It's a gray NSR Super Grip molded in a light gray or a medium gray. So it is a spec tire race, but the inserts are open. These new orange inserts from Slotting Plus seem to work really good. And so I'm trying those as well as these are the ones on the bottom here aren't mounted yet on the regular inserts that we've been using for quite a while. So that's happening. Saturday is qualifying. Sunday is the race. So like I said, it'll be live streamed. All the guys from Northern California will be there except for Ian because he and Todd and Dennis, and I hope Dennis is not driving to Edmonton, but they're all going to the Canadian NSR Nationals. So wish them well as well. I hope to get some information. I don't think they're live streaming that event. So lots of racing going on this weekend. There's a big race in at Professor Motor also, from my understanding. So that's it for that. I do have one picture to show you.
Oh, Jim, can I just make a comment that I like your tire caddies? I like your tire caddies. They're really cool.
Those are. This is a Walmart box with the tire caddies. They're 3D printed, so you can just pull them out and use them as you. It makes them easy instead of just putting tires on the bench. It makes it much easier. This is that box that I mentioned. If you're looking for a Harbor Freight style box, this is the one that's not the same size. So it looks the same. So that's why I said make sure you check it When you look inside, the compartments are different, but just straight picture with no size relation there. It looks just like the Harbor Freight, but it's about 80% of the size. So just be careful if you want to buy one of those, you're buying the right one.
Hey, Jim, can you go back to your picture? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you go back to your picture of t-shirts? What are the sizes that are available? And I'm glad that they made it appropriate for our customers.
Triple XL and 4XL.
Yeah, no smalls or mediums, I noticed.
Yeah, no smaller mediums, just triple
Gotcha.
XL, 4XL. That's all.
Yeah,
they have.
smart thinking. Thinking
And
ahead.
you can also buy parts from Jeremy at Motown Raceway. Just a
Yeah,
little
there you go.
quick.
I just
plug.
like that. I always see, like, whenever I go to events, they always have like small, medium, large. I'm like, I haven't fit into a large since I was in junior high. What are we doing here?
You gotta pay
Jeremy,
$2
hold
more
on.
for the triple XL.
Yeah, I was gonna say you got to pay more for it because there's extra material.
Yeah, I know.
I hope your driver stations are wide apart on that track.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
the
weather would be
driver's
cool.
podium has to be reinforced as well. Don't forget.
Yeah, I forgot those new inserts. The standard inserts that we've been using are those little, they're like a tan color that you have to glue and true. The Slotting Plus, they're strips. So they're narrow strips and you cut them and they have adhesive on the back. So you wrap them around the tire and cut them to size. And they come in two colors, orange and black. The difference being orange is slightly thicker than black. So it looks to me about 30% thicker. So essentially they have two sizes. And they also have round cut ones. I haven't tried those yet that are laser cut that you just punch out. But those are fairly new from Slotting Plus, and I like them a lot so far.
So the difference between an orange and black is its thickness and not its firmness.
Correct.
Okay. Because I read the Slotting Plus website with a particular interest on that, and it didn't mention the thickness of them, I think. It
Yeah, I
didn't
couldn't find
claim
it
one of
anywhere.
them.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it didn't mention there. I couldn't find anything to identify the firmness either. It's nice that someone's had them in their hand and found the difference.
They feel the same to me, but something that small, it's, there's no way to feel that. But they are specifically thicker on the orange, so I think that is the only difference, and they're color coded for that reason.
Right. I put a few of them under the durometer, and I have not found any difference other than the depth, like the thickness, the depth. Yeah.
They feel stiffer than the other ones we've been using, and whatever brand that is. Those tan ones, they're tan rings.
Those are all MR slot car.
They feel stiffer to me just by feeling them, but I can't confirm that.
Yeah. Which if you're using those on Motown, that a stiffer insert's not going to hurt you at all.
No, it actually helps. Yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah, that's why I've got different, we have tire wars and we think we get rid of tire wars because we have a spec tire, but we don't have a spec insert. So now I've got 3 different inserts for tires. So I've got essentially 3 compounds of tires, which if you think of foam as filling up the gap with air, I've got tires with 3 different air pressures.
That's what I think of them as. 3 different air pressures, yeah.
And you've also got tires, by the look at your caddy there, with varying amounts of CA on the sidewall of the tire, which will stiffen up the sidewall of the tire and make a difference.
So even though you have spec tires, you still have not as many, because you don't have to. If we had 2 or 3 different compounds, we'd have to have all those variations in each compound. So it doesn't make it simpler, but it doesn't make it simple.
Yeah. You think you need all of those variations, but in reality, you'd pretty quickly determine which ones work best, and everyone would just sort of focus around those.
It depends on the time of the day on this track.
And track to track.
Yeah. So that's, I guess, if you could say that it's a good thing about the Electric Dreams rules from the Nationals. There was a spec tire and inserts were not allowed. So in theory, everybody had basically the same thing.
Well, I'm all for those kind of rules. Tires, inserts, wheels, all that stuff is an art into itself. And if you don't invest the time and the knowledge, you're fighting a losing battle. So, spec wheel, spec tire, Inserts, yes. Inserts, no. I don't care. But if it's the same for everybody, I think that's a better thing to do.
It eradicates the benefit of experience and knowledge, etc., which means it makes it harder for the guys with it to win.
Right. We have
there's a lot of people that disagree with that, in that if you go to a spec, whatever it is, then the little nuances within that spec become even more important.
That's true. I don't disagree with that.
I know Ian and some of the other guys, they're preparing tires differently, the way they true them to get a higher grip and a lower grip tire.
Yeah.
There's still ways to do it.
Well, they're still applying some of what they know from experience and yeah. But it just makes the difference that little bit smaller.
But,
the difference between
I agree with you, but at the spot at Nationals, it seemed like the difference between the fast guys and the slow guys the spread was bigger, even though the parts were limited. It just seemed like that.
In 25?
This year, yeah.
Quite honestly, from watching it on the YouTubes, my take was it was actually very difficult to get a car that worked in a way that a driver was comfortable with. I saw a lot of guys in the middle and lower order that really just struggled. The cars didn't seem to be under them.
You see that in most sports. Top golfers seem to be effortless. Middle range golfers, not so much. Bad tennis players don't look comfortable, yet the good ones do. A lot of it has to do with finger.
And there's always that one or maybe less than 1% that are better than even the best guys. There's always that top level in any sport.
Do we want a new topic?
Well, I saw Geo pop in. I think he must have popped back out. I was gonna say maybe he's got some show and tell.
He probably looked at the clock. He probably looked at the clock and figured he didn't have enough time.
I saw Dennis in his car. I hope he's not driving to Edmonton.
He usually to Edmonton. Yeah, no, that'd be terrible. All right, what you got, Wayne?
Well, there's a screen share, so and my phone is in the chat, and I'm going to try. Forgive me. Gallery. Okay, I'm presuming you can see these two NSR chassis.
Yep.
NSR is an unusual brand insofar as most of their slot cars you can purchase with either of these configurations underneath it. And I just wanted to go around the room and let everyone suggest, when they have this choice, which of these two do they choose?
Which track are you talking about?
What any individual from the chat can tell us about why they choose what they choose based on what they race on.
Okay,
their own choices.
I race on wood tracks, and I'd go with the S-Can.
That's one answer.
I can't imagine you wouldn't unless you're running on a track with magnetic downforce.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So which
Of course,
choose?
since I race on plastic, that's going to be the opposite.
Right.
You choose the big one, do you, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I switched all my my slotteds to angle winder long cam.
No magnet racing.
Yep.
Are we taking the magnets out, Wayne?
Tell me which you choose for your circumstances, whether you run magnets or not. You're a wood track non-magnet guy. What do you choose, Jim?
Well, we don't have a choice. We run the angle winders because that's the only thing that's allowed for that class.
That's the perfect. Yeah, that's your choice, and it's due to regulations.
It's due to regulations.
Perfectly adequate answer.
If the regulation wasn't there and we could choose either of those, I totally agree with Chris. We would go with the S-Can motor.
How about your club, Greg? What happens there?
I was just about to say, we usually, because we still have lots of plastic in the club, though I'm not sure they really think about this being the reason we usually go with the angle winder, but at the same time we replace the motor with the Baby King. So we're
Right.
still getting a little bit of downforce from it on the plastic tracks. But I think the main reason is because we prefer running the Baby King as the motor.
And
Yeah.
truth be told, these are both angle winders.
Yeah,
Strictly speaking, they actually are. I think there's a very small, about 2 degrees
Yeah,
on the
right.
S-can, but it's
Exactly.
not really about the angle, I don't think. It's about the choice of motor in most cases for most people.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Precisely. But calling one, yes. Yes.
Does NSR make a low RPM S-can? I know
Yes.
other people do, but
Yeah, well, 22.
no, I mean like 17.
No,
Yeah, didn't think so.
See, with regard to their S-can, I think, is this stock one a 23 or a 21 and a half? What is this? What is it
That car's
nowadays?
a 25.
Yeah, that purple.
In the classic cars, the Ford GTs and the P68s, it's 21.9.
It's the 21. It's quite a tasty S-can motor, isn't it? It's a bit hot, isn't it?
I think the reason for that is they're trying to make it somewhat equivalent to the 21.4 angle winders. Relative speed, those two are comparable. The 21.4 angle winder, the 24 long cam, 25 short cam. Those are relatively equal in performance.
And it does depend on the class for us. Like when we run the classics, it's basically the stock 21K motor.
Right.
It's just the GTs that we switch to, that we either use the angle winder or switch them to angle winder for the
And you
Baby
can see that in the gearing. When you look at the gearing between those two cars, the gearing is drastically different because of the different motor.
Right.
Now, I know Gio popped in, but I think I'm confident in speaking on his behalf, and he'll correct us next week if I'm out of turn. But I think he would also choose with this scale electric track, the top one, the FK motor. Again, because he races with non-magnet cars, but the magnetic downforce available from the motor is superior in that design.
Right. Yeah.
Strangely enough.
Race on plastic track, you want a long can. Race on wood tracks, you want a lightweight. Difference in motors, the difference in weight in motors between those two is almost 13 grams.
Yeah, and when you're in slippery conditions, and I'm not saying wood track is, but even our plastic and our regulation tire choice for the Disco racers, it's not very grippy, but we don't actually have an option to put an FK in there. Our options are between the S-can and the flat six. And between those two, it's very, very difficult to choose one over the
FK
other.
and the S-can are the same, no?
I'm sorry?
FK and the S-can are the same.
No, FK 180 and FC
Oh,
130,
sorry.
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay. Okay.
So, because we have the
FK, all FC has nothing to do with the motor size.
I know it's about the brushes, isn't it?
That's a brush designation. The number is the can and armature and the motor size, physical size of the motor.
Yeah.
So the little ones are 130s, the other ones are 180s, and the slim cans are 050s.
Yeah.
And the flat
We don't get to race
its own plateau. The flat six is different.
The flat six is different, and it doesn't. I don't have it. Don't know what numbers that could possibly be. It's only to me. It's only known as the flat six, and only obviously available through that one manufacturer. Slot it.
Yeah, Mabuchi has a number for it, but
yeah, we just don't know it.
Yeah, the other thing that the S-can has going for it, it's got a much smoother power band.
Easier to drive.
Yeah, I would say so.
But not ultimately as well. Yeah, depending on your circumstances. Yeah, I think in Gio's case, the FKs are quicker. They may not be easier to drive, but I send. I don't literally post one to him, but he does put cars on his track that represent a large part of the what we build for the disco events. Because I build one and he builds one almost identically. We do them in tandem, and then he puts his version of the car that we're going to go to a disco race on his scale electric track. And in recent times, they've included this FC 130 S-can motor, and he literally cannot get the cars that we take to Disca going round his own track as quickly as cars that are configured a lot more like the top there with the FK 180s in them, which is what he talks about when he uses his club night events and stuff.
Right. So
And he always comes to the race thinking, this car's off the pace because it won't go around his track as quickly as his own cars. And then we turn up at the Disco races and we surprise ourselves by how good our cars actually seem to stack up by comparison to the field.
Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. This picture came from Facebook, and the originator of the picture's question was about the gear ratios and the choice of gears and which one of these would actually be faster. But I saw the picture and I thought to myself, there's a side topic here, which is which do we choose and why? Which was not like I say, that's not what the 13 comments were about. They were actually about the gears, as I said. But I borrowed the picture.
Well, I mean,
And
well, it's different motors, different gear ratios. You gear 1.6 liter 4-cylinder a lot differently than you gear a 427 V8. That's life.
Horses for courses.
Yeah, one is low RPM and high torque, and the other is just the opposite. So you gear them differently to achieve roughly the same speed.
Yeah, you can make them both go the same speed in a straight line with gears.
Now that being said, I've run both of those because we run the car on the top. We run those with a 1331 gear.
Yep.
If you run that bottom car, I think the top car, the angle one, or the long can car, I think has more power. If you keep the stock gears, if you up the pinion gear on the S-can car, you can get some of that power back. So what
you're saying is you can get back to a similar performance level?
No.
Well, yeah, sort of. But the S-can is still going to be smoother off the bottom than, because it's got less torque.
Yeah.
And you can't, you can go to that has a 13 pinion on top, the angle winder, the long can. It has a 13 pinion. If you go to a 14 pinion, the car will be undrivable, but it will be faster. If you go to a 12 to a 13 on the S-can, it will be faster and still drivable.
Okay, yeah. Okay, so let's throw another angle at this. Which one of these is the better choice then for a beginner slot car racer with a plastic track?
The top one.
All the time.
You got they're gonna, even if you pop the magnet out, you're gonna pick up another 10 grams of downforce just because of the motor.
I tend to agree.
Well,
the grip is always worth more than the power.
Well, that's handling. You can go down the straights as fast as you want. If you can't go around the corners, you're going nowhere.
Yeah.
And again, it's there is no North American, or I can't remember any wood track proxy in the last 10 years where a 180 size motor has been in the top 5.
Yeah, actually, yeah. You mentioned that before, and it's an interesting statistic, isn't it?
It's not really interesting. It's all physics. You got a great big honking thing in the back of the motor there, pulling the back end of the car around. you take the 130 motor on the bottom, take that out, put a brushless motor in with the same performance, and you're going to go around corners way faster.
You've brought another thing to the conversation there, which is the lightweight motor that is potentially the future.
That's right. That's the whole.
The proxies have proven that. The proxies that I've run when I drive Courtney's car, which is one of the few with a brushless motor or an 050 motor in it, so it's lighter, not brushless, but even lighter than anything you've got up there. That car goes through the S's or around corners like you wouldn't believe.
Right. We've been running 050s for, I don't know, I can't tell you how long. I would suspect if you ask Courtney where he got that idea. I'm pretty sure I know where the answer is about running an 050 motor. I think I talked to him about 3 or 4 years ago on that. But yeah, I mean, years and years when when we all were racing in the 60s and 70s, we had great big 26D motors, and then we went to strap motors, and then we went to micro motors, and now we've gone to brushless motors. The actual speed of the motor has not changed drastically. The weight of the motor has changed drastically, and the handling of the cars has improved drastically, all because of the weight.
Yeah. And tire compounds that are available in rubber in terms of the rubbers anyway, they've gotten softer and they've gotten better in more recent years, I presume. I mean, I've only been around since 2016, 17 in the modern era, and I've seen some tires that have gone away. We already had soft tires then, but I think the rubber tires have come along, and you don't seem to need as much mass to push them down into the track, if that's actually a thing. It is for traction, but it doesn't help in the corners, and it's all about the corners. Presuming you've got enough traction to handle the motor that you've put in there in terms of how quick the motor is. And I'm going round and round. Are we done with the photograph? Shall I let the topic go? And
Wayne, you didn't put the one in where the cars that have 3 configurations.
Yeah, inline's an option too.
yeah, strangely enough, that one.
Osler's and a couple of the others, there's 3 configurations available.
Where do I stop my share? Back to the Zoom chat, hopefully there, and stop the share.
And with inlines, if the rules say you have to run an inline, you have to run an inline.
Yeah.
There is no
That's the only
physical,
reason. Yeah.
no physics there's no physics advantage to running an inline.
Inlines work perfectly well against themselves, and my experience with running them against sidewinders is entirely based in one category, and that was Scalextric GT3 cars. The earlier older ones, such as your McLaren MP412C in particular, is a sidewinder and a really quite handy Scalextric GT3 model to have. But there's another really handy Scalextric GT3 in the AMG Mercedes, which is just about a match for it, and that's an inline.
Right, but okay. But it's complete. It's a different wheelbase, a different guide lead,
It's
a different
completely different. Exactly.
So inline versus so the motor configuration. If
Doesn't
you took
explain it.
cars, take everything identical and just switch the motor orientation, the Sidewinder always wins for a bunch of reasons.
Well, if you took a slotted Group C car, and they run great, as is, it's slotted Nationals.
Oh, yeah.
If you took that car and put in a Sidewinder pod and put in the same motor with the same gear ratio, it would kill it.
Right. Yeah. Now, again, we run a couple of stock-ish slotted classes on the Polycar track, and they're all Group C slotteds, and we run and mandated to keep it. We're trying to get new people involved in the sport, and Dad comes in with his son and goes, "Okay, it's a slotted car for $100." We really hate to tell them, yeah, but you got to spend another 50 to make it competitive. So we run them inline, and if you're running inline to inline to inline, they go around that. And I mean, it's not a massive difference, but they're certainly better. The Sidewinders, absolutely, no comparison.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk about the physics of it, Porsche 911 should not be fast. The motor should not be out behind the rear axle. That's the stupid worst place to put it. But they run good because they've been developed. The tires have got better. But even Porsche went to a mid-engine 911 when they were allowed to in the racing world.
And over the years, they've crept their rear engine cars with the engines further and further forward, haven't they? In just to get more towards the mid-engine.
Well, that
Even the
probably
rear engine
40-inch
cars,
wide rear tires, yeah.
yeah, they've moved them forward and forward, which is an acknowledgement that hanging them out the back was never optimal.
I guess my point is that when we say the angle line or the inline's not as good, that doesn't mean it's not good. It's just not the optimal way when you get right down to the last 10th or 2 of a second. They're
Yes.
still good.
Precisely. Precisely. I'm looking for something here if I can find it.
So the inline sidewinder, is that just because of the way the mechanical mesh is better because it's not the gears are going with each other instead of sideways or whatever? Like, is that, or is it just because of the weight?
I'm mainly because of the gear and the way the gears rotate. The torque in these motors, albeit small, tends to lighten one rear wheel under acceleration. On a sidewinder, the way the gears rotate, it tends to not do that. It's much smoother.
Yeah, it's a parallel axis instead of a
plus
perpendicular axis.
the gears aren't working at 90 degrees to each other.
All right.
Gear, and then longevity issues. You can tolerate some movement, lateral movement in a rear axle in a sidewinder because the gears just slide along the teeth evenly. You cannot really tolerate lateral movement of the rear axle or gear in an inline configuration. You're just going to bugger everything up.
And those of us that remember the 60s, back in the 60s, when they got away from those big Chemtron motors and went to the smaller motors, kind of like what we're used to now, those were all inline cars. And then somebody developed a sidewinder car, and he went from being I wouldn't say middle of the road. He was a top of the road expert, but he wasn't winning. He developed a sidewinder car, and bang, he's winning races. The car just develops more traction and it works better.
And there's a sidewinder you wouldn't want to race much.
Well, that's very true to the Porsche ethos, Chris.
This was at our two Arvernies tracks ago, and we had a Group 5 series. And one of the guys was absolutely determined to run a Group 5 Porsche. And Bly, bless their hearts, tended to build slot cars with slot car motors in the positions that the real car counterparts had.
Yeah, because Fly even did that with the Viper, right? They had it as a front motor.
Yeah. So anyways, this started out as it was a Fly. And anyway, this in its configuration was not a race winner, but it was certainly a podium car. Now this had massive, you probably can't see it, but there's a square hole, there's a piece of styrene that I cemented in here into the center. These two tubes are styrene tubes that added longitudinal stiffness to the chassis to stop it tramping. And they also ended up being a pretty cool, funky place for me to put motor wires. Anyway, yes, this is as good a rear engine slot car as I have ever seen or ever built in my life. Yet, if I could have moved the motor up here, it would have been way better. So yes, you can improve anything, and yes, you can make things go better. Any slot car can be improved drastically, but you're facing certain limitations on the way. So back to the inline thing. Inlines are great. They're wonderful. They're wildly fast. I raced them exclusively in the late 60s. All the pros raced inlines in the mid 60s because of the motor size prohibited for a bunch of reasons of using them in sidewinder configurations. And they were all great. once sidewinders came in, angle winders came in first in commercial racing, and then the sidewinders, and it changed the whole deal.
Now, did you ever try that exercise with a front motor, Chris?
I built tons of front motor cars, and they're great. They're fun.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Are you asking me if they're fast? The answer is no.
No, it's not.
Um,
See, again, I'm in 100%
They're
agreement with you. It's not about
extremely
being,
cool.
yeah, it's not about being fast. It's about having fun and just building.
Hang on. Why
That's
am
a
I
front motor car.
It's
Huh?
all about crushing your competitors.
Yeah.
That's not up, is it?
Under your heels.
Yeah, that's the front motor car you're showing us, Chris.
That's actually front wheel drive. I'm talking about like a front motor with a drive shaft. Sorry.
You can make front motor cars with a drive shaft work really, really well for what they are. They're not going to compete. You can, you take the springs out of them and put in a piece of vinyl tubing, put in all kinds of stuff, makes them nice and smooth, does this, does this, does this. Now you've got to get around, holding the front axle fairly stable because you don't want stub axle. Like there's all kinds of stuff, right? So I've got a couple of front motored rear wheel drive cars that are really, really nice. I really like driving. I'm not putting them on the track against other stuff because I'm going to get killed. It's just, but not every slot car that I have is my fastest slot car. I like them for different reasons. So,
Well, yeah, because what you're doing is making a car that's comparable to the actual real car in that case, right? I mean,
I have
yeah.
two questions. Chris, with regard to the Porsche that you showed with the motor behind the rear axle, did the body shell still fit, or did that need quite a bit of work to
No,
get
no,
to
no,
fit?
fly. That's how it,
Oh, that's how it was supplied.
yes. Yeah.
Oh, I see. And the
Fly
second
made,
question, the
yeah.
second question was about the front motor, front drive car you just showed. What body shell went on that? What kind of car was that?
Believe it or not, that was a Lexan Hillman Imp.
Oh, the classic rear engine car then.
Yeah. The classic rear engine car with a front motor.
Nice. Hillman Imp. I thought it looked like a short wheelbase. Yeah.
Yeah, it needs a mini body.
We've done. There was a lot of good builders back in the day at Ernie's and around there. So we'd come up with, let's build this, let's do, and it was never, making the cars go well within the parameters of what they were was always important, but it was not always about building the fastest ultimate slot car. It was, let's build a car. And I tell you, everybody learned a whole ton and learned a whole bunch of things that once you've done them once or twice, there's really no need to do them again. But very cool. I mean, it's always a challenge. You sit down and you think, okay, this causes problems. This is a problem. This is a problem. It's never going to be great, but the guy who's going to win is probably the guy who's going to mitigate most of those problems.
Yeah. A large part of why I enjoy the sport, because I don't get to do a lot of driving, is actually bench preparation and getting one that every time a car goes to the track with me, even when I was racing on a relatively regular basis, it was the same car but different again, different again, and different again. And people wouldn't know that unless I spoke about it, because it would just be my same Gulf liveried car, which I didn't much care for what the body shell will look like, but it was Gulf and it was mine. And it was it changed nearly every time, and it was either the way I got some weight in there and where I moved it, and different wheels and different tires occasionally gave away the fact that I'd changed something. But yeah, that's what it was like for me, experiencing the experiments and learning from mistakes as much as things that went
Mhm.
right.
Mhm.
I just noticed Big Den's joined the party.
Hey, Big Dan. Got any show and tell?
So Wayne, did you keep all the stats on each one of those changes that you were doing? The micro, the
Do you know what? I
different.
used to have an A4 hardback book and a pen that was trapped in it, and it was in my pit box permanently. And I would, yes, I would, because it was the same circuit, and I was always there with around about the same number of people every week. I was keeping stats. I've stopped doing it because I feel as though, looking back at what I once did, there are a lot of things there that I wouldn't do anymore. But I'm not playing around with stock scale electric cars because my regulations dictate that anymore. I'm under a different regulation set.
Yeah.
And I'm now under a regulation set that I feel is the most open that I'm aware of in any form of slot car racing, because as long as it's got the right motor, the right tyres on, and the right body shell, in terms of it's got to look like it's got to be a replica of an actually raced Le Mans prototype hypercar.
Yep.
Those are the three limitations: your motor, your tyres, and your body shell, and everything else pretty much you can do as you please. And it's very, very difficult to build things that are significantly better than some of the production cars out there. But we do it. There's a couple of individuals who are behind designs and things like that that manage to beat the production stuff. They choose not to use production stuff anymore.
Right.
I think of it as the bleeding leading edge of design technology, and Mr. Maurizio Ferrari is there witnessing and showing interest in all the things that happen, and I believe he takes some of it away and takes it to his latest releases.
Gets his designers to come up with new stuff.
Yeah.
Are you guys all live chatted out? Should we switch to casual mode?
Please,
Well,
please, Greg, your baby.
I think we're good to go. I'm going to end the stream so everybody went by, clicking the end button, and YouTube says the stream is finished, but it's never finished for